Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Empower Your Mind for Success podcast, a podcast for anyone who wants to build an entrepreneurial mindset. We have all heard that perception is reality, but is our perception creating our blind spots too? I was attending the John Maxwell Team International Maxwell Certification Conference this weekend. It's a conference that happens twice a year. This time, for the first time, it was a virtual conference given the travel restrictions to the pandemic situation we are all in. It's a very interesting conference. Today, one of the keynote speakers was Miles McPherson. Now, Miles McPherson was a football player for San Diego Chargers, and he is also a pastor now and a founder of one of the churches. And he has recently written a book called As the Third Option. Now, the book Third Option talks about race and that there is always another option to look at humans and at race and color. It's not us versus them. There's always a third option, and he very articulately talks about groups, and he gives examples of what groups is, and he talks about in groups and out groups, and he says, look, if you're a male, then you are part of the male in group, and because you're not a female or you're not a woman, then you are not you are the female group is your out group, right? Because you're not part of the female group. Now, you may be an engineer and you may be a mechanical engineer. So you will be the part of the engineering in group and you will be part of the mechanical engineers in group. But if you have a friend who is a chemical engineer, then he is part of the engineers in group, but he is an out group to the mechanical engineers group, right? So that is how groups are formed. And who we associate with more often is our in group, the close people that we associate with, from a professional perspective, social perspective, and that becomes our in group. So when it comes to color, if you are from European background, then you are part of the European in group. If you're from Asia, you're part of the Asian in group, right? So he talks about these things and talks about how we can overcome us versus them. And he made a very interesting point around blind spots. And, he talks about that, this entire world pretty much has been created by right-handed people. So because majority of the people in this world are right-handed. So for us, most of us, we are part of the right hand in group. But all the southpaws or all the people who are left-handed find it very difficult. And I'm a right-handed person. So for me, I do not understand all the issues a left-handed person may face, and hence that is my blind spot. And that's a blind spot by logic or by relationship, because I'm part of the right hand in group and the left hand is an out group to me. So it's a blind spot for me. And, that made me think a little bit. And, so we were talking about blind spots, and I was thinking, okay, blind spot is blind is the opposite to see. Seeing is perception, or one of the ways to define looking at something is perception. So I started looking up how perception is defined, right? And if you take a look at it, the definition of perception is the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. Right? There's another way to put perception, to explain what perception means is, perception is the organization, identification, and interpretation of sensory information in order to represent and understand the presented information or environment. All perception involves signals that go through the nervous system, which in turn result from the physical or chemical stimulation of the sensory system, right? The other way of looking at perception is the act or faculty of perceiving or apprehending by means of the senses or of the mind, cognition, understanding. And I was thinking, my perception the way I apprehend things, or the way I understand things, or become aware of things through my senses, my perception is because of how I was raised. It was because of which part of the world I was raised in, and the color of my skin, my belief systems, my thought process, my educational background, my work experience, and the life lessons I have faced in life. That all forms our perception. But then, does this perception also create my blind spots? I've been an engineer. I've worked in IT. I've never been an architect of buildings, so I do not understand everything about architects. So being an architect, I'm part of the architecture outgroup, and maybe that is my blind spot. Now, why I am talking about this today is because I wanted to raise a very interesting question. We all look at life through our lenses of our experience, and our experience, our failures, our accomplishments, our struggles basically form our perception about life. If a person has had too many struggles in life, at least in the life that he or she has lived so far, their perception would be that life is usually tough, is challenging, and it is full of difficulties. But on the other hand, if a person has lived a life where he has accomplished more than failures, then he would see life from that perception, and be very upbeat about life, right? But whatever your perception is, it also creates a blind spot. So let's say you are a very good employee, you have very good work experience, and now you want to become an entrepreneur. Now, because you are part of the employee in group, you are an out group of the entrepreneurial group, because you have not been an entrepreneur as yet, or at least not a full-time entrepreneur as yet, and maybe you have dabbled here and there, but you have not made enough money. Then isn't being an entrepreneur a blind spot for you? Now, when we drive today, whether it's a car, a jeep, a truck, or whether it's a motorcycle, a bicycle, we all are aware of our blind spots, and we are trained to look behind our shoulder momentarily to ensure that there is no one behind us close enough that we cannot see in the rear view mirrors before we change lanes. So we are trained to do that, right? We are trained to watch out for our blind spots. But all of us are not trained to overcome the blind spots of the skills that are necessary for us to achieve our dreams and goals. Now, you may be very clear of your goal. You may have a lot of clarity of your goal, but the vehicle that you are in today will not allow you to get to your dream or goal. You need to change vehicles. So maybe you are an employee, you need to become an entrepreneur, right? Maybe you are a small business owner, you need to become a larger business owner, right? Maybe you have only 2 employees, you need to have 20 employees, right? So in your business. So based on where you are and where you want to go, the vehicle that you choose to arrive at your destination has to be a blind spot for you if you have not been there, done that. And that is where mentors come in. That is where coaches come in to help you see those blind spots. That is why, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, all the popular coaches and mentors talk very highly about coaching, because coaching is one of the ways to achieve your dreams and goals faster. We can always learn through the University of Hard Knocks, and there's nothing wrong in it, right? But our life, our shelf life is limited, right? We are not going to live a long life. Yes, we are going to have our own failures and make mistakes, but why not avoid mistakes that can be avoided by learning from someone, by paying that person something to ensure that you achieve your dreams and goals sooner rather than later. Speed is very, very important in entrepreneurship. And you cannot achieve speed if you are not aware of your blind spots. You don't know what you don't know. And by the time you know, through trial and error, through the University of Hard Knocks, maybe you would have spent a lot of time that could be saved if there was someone out there watching for your blind spots. That is why choosing the right coach, choosing the right mentor is very important, right? Even having an awareness that you need a coach itself is progress. If you keep on thinking that you have to achieve everything by yourself because that is the right thing to do and that is the macho thing to do, then you are wrong when it comes to the entrepreneurial world. In the corporate world, it is different. In the entrepreneurial world, it is different. Entrepreneurial world can be very lonely. And that is why you need to have people helping you achieve your goals and dreams sooner. So think about it, right? Is your perception causing your blind spots and coming in the way of you achieving your dreams and goals? Now, only you can answer this question for yourself because all of us are in our unique situation in life. But from a generality perspective, from an entrepreneurial perspective, it is advisable, it is prudent for you to seek help to achieve your entrepreneurial goals. Sooner the better, faster the better, right? Even if you have to spend money to get there faster, the ROI on the money that you spend is 10, 15, 20 times in the entrepreneurial world usually. Is it guaranteed? There are no guarantees in life. Absolutely none. But the probability of success drastically increases when you have someone watching for your blind spots. So I hope you see it that way too, or at least this gives you enough questions or enough things to ponder upon. And maybe if you are aware that your perceptions could create blind spots for you, maybe you would think of being a little bit more open-minded before you reach a conclusion, before you form an opinion. Maybe you would want to look at all facts. Maybe you would give the other person a benefit of doubt, hoping that we are all part of the same in-group, which is humans. Doesn't matter what background, what culture, what ethnicity, what color is our skin. It really doesn't matter, right? When it comes to your money-making lifestyle, you're either part of the employee in-group or you're part of the entrepreneur in-group. And you can be in both groups as well, right? But all fellow entrepreneurs want to help each other. You just need to find the right person to help you. I hope this helps. I hope this gives you enough things to think about. It gives you enough food for thought. And I hope you found value in this podcast. If you did, please forward this podcast to someone you believe would benefit from listening to it. Remember, you have unlimited potential. Own it. Thank you for listening. Until next time, take care.